segment, Game Related, where we highlight opportunities and obstacles for former athletes with the thought process of giving future generation a better understanding about the game.
These conversations are meant to bring awareness to the opportunities and the hardship that comes with the game. Let's get game related.
All right, y'all. It's been a minute since we've been on the show. Got a guest that we have known for almost 25 years or so. Right? We got our guy Howard Blue on. Howard, to me, has one of the best minds, as far as coaching in this area. He's been doing it for a long time at different levels. He's also had a very successful career when he played at Gonzaga and at Colgate University. And he's here to, shed some light on, the way the game is right now versus how it was back in the day, and just give his overall view of his coaching aspects. So, we want to welcome to the show.
Appreciate you guys.
Well, Howard.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, first question we always ask everybody, right? And I think this is a twofold question for you since you coach, is everybody is trying to chase success. But once you get there managing it, it's a different situation. And you have seen that from your playing days and from coaching guys. Like, what advice can you give to players as far as making sure that they handle success?
I mean, don't change up in terms of like making things easier. Whatever you did to become successful, I think you should keep doing it. Right? And being able to stick with it, stick with the people, stick with the process, and enhance the process. Like, don't change to a completely new one. I think that's one of the things I see a lot is like people hit a point and they improve to the level where they think they might want to, whether it's getting playing time, whether it's starting, whether it's becoming the best player on the team, whatever it is, they get to that point and then they stop doing all the things that got them there, or they start doing something different with different people, different like just changing the fundamentals, the foundation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What would you say, like, so obviously you got the kids aspect, right? But then you're dealing with a parent or I guess nowadays we'd say a handler or, you know what I mean? Like,
I try not to deal with many of those.
like, how do you navigate, if you had to deal with one, how do you navigate them as far as staying focused on the main goal?
I mean, it's tough because I try to connect with parents early as possible just to get an understanding of what they're thinking. Because the reality is that idea of success for kids now, they think they can be successful in third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, where the era that I'll say that I came up in, I knew success was so much further down the line than what I was doing in elementary and middle, and even like high school. Like the goal wasn't to be the best sixth grade player in the country. It didn't matter. Like no sixth grader was good to us when we were in the sixth grade because the best senior in the area, like he was good. You know what I mean? Like not my classmate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was a little. So parents can now have this feeling of like success at such an early age for their kid that they start chasing like the next thing, I think, a little bit too soon. And it's like I said, just keep getting better and keep doing the things that you're doing to this point. And like you can see all these fancy trainers now, you see all fancy setups and elaborate like processes. But then when you talk to like NBA players, you see how simple their process is, how simple their workouts are. Like they're working on their thing and they're working on their thing to be efficient. They're working on their thing to be elite, and like they're getting countless reps of the things that kids today think are boring, and that like the best players that they watch on TV and want to emulate. Like you want to do the coolest thing you see them doing, but they're doing the most basic thing. 60% of their reps are the thing that you have to be. You have to almost force kids to do in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of goes to the point what you said, right? they doing that simple thing, what probably what got them there.
Mm-hmm.
And they stayed with that process. And then I think sometimes like in today's culture, they take the fun out the game for the kids.
Yeah.
If they just, you gotta go see this trainer, you gotta go see that trainer, you gotta work with this, you gotta do that. You gotta be the best sixth grader in the country. Like, that's a lot of pressure to just go out, have fun, learn the game, let your instincts and things take over and to enjoy yourself instead of, it's a job at sixth grade. Like,
But
have you ever been in a game and your shot just not falling?
Yes,
Or you got more turnovers than assists?
all the time.
Sometimes the best way to go is through. For the Good Therapeutic Services can help you turn a loss into a win. FTG is a group of licensed therapists here in the DMV area who help people create a unique formula to get through tough games, challenges, and circumstances.
Yes, give them a call at 571-412-1791 for a free consultation, or visit them online at psychologytoday.com by searching For the Good Therapeutic Services. Again, that number is 571-412-1791 for a free consultation, or you can go online at psychologytoday.com and search For the Good Therapeutic Services. Make sure you tell them to stay gang related.
the way the game is consumed now is different. Like I think it's hard to put like that type of mindset on what we're dealing with now, because the way I think people in our like age group, like the people that are coaching them now, the people that like we grew up playing with and playing against, we learned how to play basketball in such a different like format. Like we didn't watch NBA games every day of the week. We didn't have that access like Sunday, Thursday. You know what I mean? Like you start getting more games on cable and be able to watch 3 or 4 nights a week. You might be able to see an NBA game, and you would watch that whole NBA game. Like kids are watching highlights. They're on Instagram. But you also think about what would happen in between those days where you weren't consuming basketball on TV. You can go out and play, and it wasn't a coach, like it wasn't even a parent. Like you go out and 3 of your friends, like y'all might play one. You might play 33. You might play around the world. You might play. You might pretend like it's you three versus Mike Pippen and Kukoc, like and y'all go play whole court. Like so, you were developing a skill, like you were developing a joy for the game. And like now, like I think about like my daughter, she wants me coaching her now, which I count as like my biggest blessing. I want to do the best coaching job I'll ever do with her if she wants me to keep coaching her. But I think about the parents and like the environment that she's in. Like she's not learning basketball the way I learned it. So like I can't expect her to take to it the way that I did. So I try to get the parents that we're coaching now to understand I don't want to tell these kids what to do. In practice, I'm going to do that. In the games, like I don't want to tell them when to shoot. I don't want to tell them where to go. But I need y'all not to do that. Because when you start doing that, I have to do it more because I want to make sure that they're doing the right thing. Sorry if I hit this. But I want you guys to give them space to just play, because they're not going to the boys club. They're not going to the rep and just hoop. And so like you can't expect the kid not to look at it like a job, or a coach to approach it like a job, because like you're being sent to such and such trainer, such and such practice to be told what to do. And that's not how, like I think your intrinsic like thought system and framework is supposed to be built. And I think kids today might be more skilled because of all the attention towards it, but the feel of the game is eroding. And I think it goes to the point that you were making. So
Yeah, they're losing their instincts for sure. Man, let's switch on this. So I was thinking about it. Do you ever get to the point now where, you get this young kid and they see you and they don't understand, obviously you're done playing, right? And they like, you weren't good back in the day. You know what I mean? And like, I would tell people, if you had a career that Blue had, you know, in college or even in high school, like you would be very happy with it. You know what I mean? And I want to get back to your playing days. You know, obviously you went to Gonzaga. You know, tell me what that experience was like in high school, playing at Gonzaga.
It was wild, man. It was wild. Um, Gonzaga is not like it is today, but it still kind of weird was like Steve Turner had taken it to a whole nother level. But the idea of leaving like DC public school system and going to Gonzaga was like a culture shock, like academically, socially, hoops wise, like all of it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and like I remember feeling like I was on like a TV show sometimes. I remember trying to walk away from the place a few times. And like I didn't really want to be at Gonzaga. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in Northeast and Southeast to been a part of Benning Road to where it turns into 8th Street to Florida Avenue. Like we moved back and forth between a few places in that corridor for my whole life. And I never knew that Gonzaga was a high school. And you're talking about like, but by the time I went to Gonzaga in my sophomore year, I moved in with my grandmother. And it was 8 blocks away. And my grandmother had lived there her whole life. And I never knew Gonzaga was a high school. So like think about how DC, how DC was a lot different back then. So I didn't get a chance to go to shadow visits and choose a school. Like recruiting didn't happen in that way. But when I got lucky enough to get the opportunity, I wasn't ready for it. Like I struggled through that place my freshman year, and I struggled like having basketball practice every day. Like I struggled having homework every day. Like I struggled having to have work all day long. And the biggest struggle was leaving school and like walking home some days. And my friends would be out and they like, got that big ass book bag on. Like, I'm getting way home. It's hard to want to do it. You know what I mean? So that first year and a half was a doozy. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to leave. I wanted to go play with my friends that I grew up playing with. That I had confidence that I was good. Because at Gonzaga, they make you learn back then right away that you're not what we need. We see what we need, and we're going to get you there, but it's not right now. And they put that in your face. And I think I don't know if Steve is still doing it that way, but I definitely think he has created a culture where I think the end goal feels more attainable to the guys. But Gonzaga, once I got over the tough part, Gonzaga was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I wish I would have been able to connect with that sooner and had less struggles and made it, because I made it tough for people there. I made it tough for Coach Witt. I made it tough for my grandmother to get over the first couple of quarters there. But once I did, like, and seeing the end result of it, I was very appreciative of my time there.
Nice. So then you jumped to Colgate. You know, did you play AAU? What made you choose Colgate?
So I played for Rising Stars that turned into Jabbo Kenner.
Okay.
And then switched over and played for Team Reebok. But I didn't play I didn't have the AAU the summer before my senior year. But we played with Team Reebok, but we didn't do as much. And I did not. I didn't go to Vegas because we played the board games that week, and I had missed. We had the rule back there where you could only miss 1 week of summer league for AAU.
Oh,
yeah, times changed.
So like I had already picked my week to go like early in the summer, so I didn't take that trip. But we didn't feel the pressure that we had to back then either. But Colgate came around because Brendan Toohey, who was an assistant coach my sophomore year and junior year at Gonzaga, played at Colgate on their tournament teams with Donald Foyle. So once I got over not doing homework and my grades shot up really quickly, and I got a really high score on the PSAT, like he instantly started telling me I should like look at Colgate. And he took me up to like an alumni golf event. That's I think the spring of my sophomore year. That was my first time he took me up there, and I thought it was cool. Like at the time, I'm thinking like I'm trying to go to Georgetown. I'm trying to we'll go to Big East ACC, and talking about like really excited about it. But it was the first college I had ever seen outside of the Kennedy League stuff. And my junior year goes by, and this is when I start like becoming a decent player. My college recruitment starts taking shape. We had a good fall preseason going into my junior year, and that winter, I broke my foot in like the first week or second week in January, and I was having some pretty high level schools recruiting me at this time, and when I broke my foot, the guy went really quiet, and there was an assistant coach named Rob Balanis, who is a DeMatha grad. He's down at Howard, is on the staff.
Okay.
He reached out to me shortly after that and told me, like, man, hey, he was there recruiting another kid that played for the team, like, wanted to just check in on me. And he was like, man, we weren't really recruiting you before, but he's like, the way this game works, I'm sorry you're hurt, but he was like, I want to let you know that if things cool down, like you gonna have an opportunity of where I'm at and play. And that right there like resonated with me so much because I was in that cast for so long, and every time I went back, like the doctor like that's not healed all the way. It's just not healed all the way to the point where like my dad and me with the doctor one time when they told me it wasn't healed all the way, he was like, well, it doesn't look like it's healing. What's the worst that happens if he starts playing? He was like, well, if this is the case, you either have to have surgery or you roll the dice on whether or not your foot will break again.
Mm.
And like when I got into like the fifth month and still in the boot, I was like, man, like if it's not going to heal, I don't want to have surgery because I want to play.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I made it through my senior year, and I was terrible. That's because I got clear like a week before summer league, going into my senior year. So I was out of shape, and back then going to the Rock up at High Point, you can have 2 or 3 college coaches at your game on just a regular night, like not even a big tournament, maybe even more if it's in a big game. I just wasn't ready to play, and that might have been the first like summer where I intentionally worked as hard as I could to get better. Like it wasn't just doing it because that's what I'm supposed to do. It was like, man, you got to get better. And I worked like endlessly all summer long, and I got in like really, really good shape. I got better, and when school started recruiting me again, like it almost made me want to end the process early. So it was around like September, like October. I was like, man, you know what? I got these bigger schools starting to come back, but I could get hurt again, and they'd go away. So like I set up an official visit to Colgate, and I went up there and committed before I came home. Like I didn't take any other visits. I didn't like call any other school. Like I went up there, took the visit, told them I was coming. Like I don't necessarily think I enjoyed myself up there, but my mind was already made up. And what he said to me and then what Rob Alana said to me the first time he talked to me on the phone really had my decision sealed.
Yeah.
Nice. One more thing on that. So you talked about the transition from DC public schools to Gonzaga, right?
Mhm.
What was the adjustment from Gonzaga to Colgate?
Colgate was easy,
Uh,
but school I didn't really have to focus on school in college because like, we were working. Like I knew how to write, I knew how to read. Like my team, I don't know what it was like for you guys. A lot of my teammates was adjusting to having to do papers
yeah.
and stuff like that. And I was like, man, this was a night of homework.
Yeah.
So Gonzaga
Yeah,
prepared you
like,
for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got a whole week to do this. Oh man, all right, I'm going to the gym, guys. You know what I mean? Like, and that was like a way for me why I started playing a lot earlier than my other teammates because Like I wasn't in like the academic meetings before practice. Like I was hanging out. I didn't need to, you know. I was able to go get shots up when like people were getting in study hall. Like I didn't have to do that. So I had an advantage. And I just like once I got to college, I just had so much more time. And when it was time to do work, I knew when how to do it. But I got to really focus on basketball in a way that I think like a lot of my peers that got there took them a year or two to get to.
I know I took a year too. So
Yeah, that was what's one thing. Side note, that I kind of always tell people, like from coming from Gonzaga, those first, like my first probably 2 years, like I did this already,
Yeah.
so it was a smooth transition as far as work wise.
Like having individual workouts and having
Mm-hmm.
a 3-page or 4-page or 5-page paper, but it was everything on the school side and the basketball side. It wasn't my first time doing it.
Yeah.
And that was a huge advantage.
oh, good for y'all. Listen, I don't even think it was the school piece. It was just the freedom piece for me, Joe.
Yeah. I had a problem with that too.
I was out of pocket when I got to school. You know, first couple years.
Sorry. But I know it's one to ask. I just never knew. As far as after college, did you ever spend any time after college playing, or was there any aspirations to play after college?
So I did. Like, so I had an agent. I was working out all from the spring into the summer, and was doing okay. But we went on like we went on a tour over there, and
Where'd you go?
went over to Italy.
Okay.
We were going to be there for 10 days. It was double-digit days. We were going to be there, just going around playing against other teams and like working out in front of people. And I was over there, and I remember like because I had a dislocation in my kneecap my senior year, and I and it was in a game like in like January, and at the time I was like leading our league in scoring, and it's like second in rebounds, and I dislocated my kneecap, or slight dislocation of my kneecap, and I asked if I would be able to redshirt, but I really didn't want to redshirt. I didn't want to go back up there for another year.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Nah, you played too many games." And I was like, "The doctor said we would need to." He was like, "Thankfully, your patella stayed intact. We would need to like repair your meniscus, and I won't know how bad that is until we go in." And he was like, "So you could return, or you could end you for the season." And at this point, I was like, "Man, let me rehab and I work. Let me rehab and keep working and see if I can get back." I missed a good while, but I got back in time for like the last 2 regular season games and playoffs. But my leg felt good. But when we were over there, working out and playing, I think it was like the 4th day. Like I just didn't feel like I could go. And after that day, we were like, we were going to be playing against somebody, and we did 3 or 4 days in a row before. And when I was warming up, I just knew like my knee wasn't good enough to play another season. You know what I mean? And I was like thinking I was going to come home, get the meniscus taken care of, and take a year, just get back. And I told Bill what my plan was, and Bill Whitaker what my plan was. I showed him, and I showed him the offer that I had, that I did get, and he was like, "I could pay you more than that." And I was like, "Is it worth going back over there?" And because over there, if I would play 4 days, if I would took that offer and played 4 days, and my knee bothered me, they probably would have sent me home. You know, so it was like I didn't think I could do it, and he's gonna pay me a little bit more than what that first offer was. So coming from where I came from, it was all right. I got a better deal, and that's when I started. I was going to work at WJA for a year, and then go back and hoop. And I ended up staying there for a pretty long time because I fell in love with what I was able to try to do there.
Okay. But that's cool. I was wondering just how was that transition? Because I know like for myself from playing and I just had that 1 year playing and then everything kind of just crumbled and never really got back to that point. Like it was a tough time. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to, yeah.
For me, it was like honestly that first year when I was home, I was so disappointed in myself that like I couldn't take care of my leg. You know what I mean? Like I was very disappointed in that, and I spent that first year like working as if I was gonna give it another go once my knee got all the way better. Thankfully, like I was getting consumed. Like Steve let me be on his staff at Gonzaga. I was like doing stuff at WJ for the first time, and I was like, I was consumed with other things that when it got time to go, like try to play again, like I had a dilemma, and I was able to say, man, I would feel better trying to make what I have going on at WJA, make that better than going overseas and trying to live out my hoop dream and having that choice and not just being like, dude, you failed or man, your body broke down. Like I think made the rest of the transition easy for me. You know, well, not easy for me, but manageable because like you start hooping at 9, get to 22, like what else are you supposed to like? What else are you supposed to do?
I definitely understand that. So, but why coaching?
I knew I wanted to coach from the time I was at Gonzaga. Like I had known I wanted to like go to the NBA. That was always a dream. That dream, unfortunately, I let get like snuffed out as I got closer up. I wish I would have. I wish I would have let reality win early as it did for me. Um, but I knew that I wanted to coach. You know, like that was like coaches have saved my life in every point of my life because like I wasn't playing basketball until like I said like in 4th grade and I wasn't a hooper. You know, like I was terrible. The security guard at my school was going to coach the basketball team, and he put me on the basketball team because he said I was smart and I was tall, obviously, um, and he told the other guys on the team that I was going to be better than them one day. You know what I mean? And these are kids that, quite honest with you, I'm afraid of. Like the 5th and 6th graders in the school, like, man, I don't want Melvin to be mad at me. I don't want these guys can hoop too, and they beat you up. You know what
Like
I'm
what
saying?
Velvet do for Bailey Boy? Nigga always a bully, huh?
You know, so and then like he's the one who like knew about stuff that was going on at home for me, and he took me over to number 2 Boys and Girls Club. You know what I mean? And was like, and then I met Jimmy Watkins, and then Jimmy told me, man, you be here every day after school. All right. Like I wasn't a good player, you know what I mean? Be here every day after school, man. If you're not gonna be here, like we're gonna be worried about you. I'm like, all right. So I just go over there, not go over there to hoop, not go over there to train, go to the boys club because Jimmy told me to. Only thing to do is hoop at number 2. Walk up on the street and throw the football. Those are your 2 options. All right. So I start spending a lot of time in number 2, and I'm not running around the neighborhood by myself all night. Get better at basketball. And after I meet Jimmy, meet Reggie Walker, right? Playing like in a rec league at Hillcrest Heights Community Center. You know what I mean? Like then I start playing CYO for him. Like and all of these times I'm like this close to doing something really stupid. And then a basketball figure shows up and gives me basketball that saved me from the path that I was like steps away from over and over again. And then Reggie introduced me to Bill Whitaker. Bill Whitaker, I almost sighted a scene, gave me a scholarship to Gonzaga. Right? He came and watched me play at a tiny boys club gym, 1 game, and 3 days later, I'm going to Gonzaga. You know, like that's a basketball coach, right? I should have been kicked out of Gonzaga. I almost quit Gonzaga. I'll say 2, 3 times easy between first 3 quarters of school on campus there. I could have done something bad enough to been kicked out 2, 3 times. And Bill Whitaker hung in there with me every step of the way, and kept telling me, man, you're running out of chances. Like you're running out of chances, but like, do you see what's in front of you? And like, that was a basketball coach, so like and as honest as I can be, like I have friends, well, I would say acquaintances, or people that I was growing up with that had way more talent than me. Like my neighborhood, there were people that were way better than me. Like I was, like think about it, I was never the best player on my team until I got to college. My entire life, I was never the best player on my team until I got to college. Wasn't the best player on my elementary team. Wasn't the best player on my #2 boys club team. Wasn't the best player on my AAU team. Wasn't the best player at Gonzaga until my senior year. Like you don't get, like you don't have an opportunity to know how much talent didn't get a chance that you got. Some of the best players I have seen this day went to Hines Junior High School with me, and people won't know their name. Um, Guys that live down the street from me, like can really play, but just didn't have the opportunities that I had, and it wasn't necessarily like I mean I could do schoolwork, but it was because a basketball coach believed in me. And I just always had this piece, and like I felt like I always had to pay that forward at some point. So that's the reason I didn't choose to go coach college when I had the opportunity, or that's the reason I like left Steve Turner's operation at Gonzaga, because like there was some little kids that like didn't have anything, and I wanted to pay back all the people who gave me a chance. And I knew I was going to do that from like 14, 15 years old.
Okay.
That's crazy because, we're getting into WJA now, and obviously you built that program, to in my opinion, a powerhouse, in middle school.
As a middle school.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Before middle school, it was a powerhouse, Like you kind of got into the intangibles of, why you did it, but like what steps do you feel like you took to make that program so successful?
I mean, it's always the Jimmys and the Joes. It's not necessarily the X's and O's. Like, you gotta have good players, but at such a young age, you gotta have good people. You know what I mean? Like I told parents, like if your kids want to play sports, they gotta work really hard, and there's no other way around that. We spent a lot of time. Like the reason I left Steve's Turner's staff was because one morning the kids had a breakfast speaker, and he asked the doctor. It was a doctor, lawyer, and a basketball player for the Harlem Globetrotters. Asked the kids what do they want to be when they grow up, and almost every kid in the school was like, "I want to play basketball in the NBA. I want to play in the NFL." Crazy thing is, they go to WJA where you go to school 11 months out of the year. You go to school 12 hours a day. None of y'all even play sports, and y'all 13 years old. How you gonna go to the NFL? How you gonna go to the NBA? It's insane.
It doesn't make sense.
But then you got kids that are like 70%, 80% of the school want to go to the NFL or the NBA, and I'm like, man, y'all don't even play sports. Like you know how crazy that sounds. And I was like, first thought was you're not playing sports because you go to school here all day, and so that means you can't be playing for a team outside of here. And I was like, man, that's also the same. We have these kids here for 12 hours a day, and there's no sports. And I'm running off at 4:30 to get down to I Street, which is about a 20-minute car ride, and I'm practicing with some guys that are gonna have a basketball team with or without me. And that started to make me feel a little guilt because I got these kids over here who don't have a chance. So we started playing basketball, and then we started playing like this any school that would play us, and we got our butts kicked. And we had one young man who wanted to be good, and he was like, "Man, what do I have to do?" And I told him, and he showed up in the morning with me, and like the school doors were open up, at like 7:30 for breakfast. He would get there at 7 and work out with me in the front of the school until about 7:45, so that he can go in, get some food, get breakfast, and get ready for first period. And he and I did that almost 2 or 3 months after that first season until the summer came, and then a couple other of his friends started wanting to do it. Then a couple of his more people started wanting to do it, to the point where like you would pull up to school at like 7 in the morning. There'd be like 16 kids outside working out before school, and we did that every day for a long time. And we started, and then people started hearing about it, and people started wanting to like, hey, I want to come over there. I want my kids doing that. And so we started soccer, and we started football, and the rest is what it was.
Okay.
All right, that's beautiful, though. That remind me of like your guy that number 2 who was just telling you just show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Literally, you mirrored what he was doing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's sometimes I feel like that's missed with all the training and the coaching, like just building community.
Yeah, and like I said, it wasn't training. I wasn't training the kids.
Yeah.
We was working out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, y'all guys gonna work out, and when you finish working out, y'all might be able to play, but we working out. You know, like I wasn't telling them go to the cone, boom, 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 boom. Nah, go work on your shot. It's how you work on your shot. Go work on it, and then you just have it. And then they start working on it together, and you start seeing it at recess. Like when I knew we were going to be good was when we had a guy miss school for something, and guys were starting to take their recess and work on what they missed. And I was like, they starting to get it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they got it. That's how you get better. And I don't have to really be a part of that. I just got to provide you the environment and the know-how.
Yeah. So now we get into, obviously you done built the program up, right? So obviously you got good players. And I think you've always, because you've had talent, you've had to manage egos. You know what I mean? Or maybe you didn't have to because you worked on, finding good character kids. But like, talk about how you managed egos or expectations of the team. You got 3, 4 good players. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you know what I mean?
Like, I think being honest with kids, and it's not the egos of the kids, it's the parents. Like, my favorite animal is a wolf. Like, and it's because they're in the pack. The pack figures itself out. Like, that's how I think athletes are. And it's not that like you can't be an alpha, I can't be an alpha. Like in the same pack, I don't believe that part of it. But I do know that at some point in time, like y'all played together, y'all played a lot of y'all career together actually. At some point in time, you know who time it is. Like you know whose job it is. And that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, and I think with kids, man, if you give them the purest environment, they're better than us because they're still learning. So if you have kids in an environment where they're working hard, you have kids in an environment where they're competing hard and they're learning, they know who's in front of them. Like they know who deserves what, and they don't usually interfere with that. It's the ride home that interferes with that because they get in the car and hearing something from mom or hearing something from dad. So managing it is really being honest, and whether you like what I'm going to say or not, you need to hear what I'm going to say because I'm telling you the truth. And if you don't like it, like you now have a choice, but you can't say like there's no parent can ever say that man Blue didn't keep it real with me. And there's some parents that think I'm a jerk. There's some parents that think I don't know what I'm doing or don't want to rock with me, but they can never say, man, Blue didn't tell me what was going on, why, and how it could change, and what will happen if it don't. And that was my only recourse to it. It's like you put these really talented kids together, and you tell their parents, I'm going to make sure that they work. And the easy thing for me at the middle school level was I'll get you ready for high school. Like, do you care if you're good in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade if you're not good in 9th? And so I was able to put that carrot in front of the kids. And I think parents was able to look back at a track record and say, man, he'll get them there. And when they get there, I'll help them once they get there. I would tell you that like the environment of getting better takes care of ego. Like if you just collecting talent and you rolling the balls out and you putting the talent on the floor to win you the game, like now you're dealing with like the issues with ego. But the way we did it, there was no fault on anyone because they were all working their butts off and they were all being told the truth and they knew how it would be. Like, I had some interesting moments dealing with parents over there, and I learned a lot from them. And some kids that turned out to be really good, man. Like Ferrado Morris, man, who had a great college career.
Yeah.
And surprised a lot of people, but didn't surprise us. His mom set me straight and wanted to keep a real conversation. Man,
She gonna do that.
And you know what? I was like, and I looked at it, I was like, you know what? You're right. Like I was gonna put Votto on the B team because I was like, man, he should boogie, man. I think he can play, but he ain't gonna play a lot over here. She's like, well, he ain't gonna. My son ain't never playing nothing and say B on it. I wanted to like go in on her a little bit. And as I was getting ready to like try to explain how we do things around here, I was like, man, you know what? He on that team, and the kid helped us win some games, even then. But it's stuff like that. Like I'll admit when I'm wrong. I don't think I didn't play for a lot of coaches that did that. So like I admit when I'm wrong. Like I'm trying to get better. So I got to put my ego in check too. So that's why I said that environment, that get better environment is how I try to deal with it.
Nice. And to me, you still have connections with the kids that have gone on, they playing overseas or they playing in college. Like why was that aspect important to you?
Man, because like I enjoy development, man. Like that's my favorite thing. As hard as a head coach, that's my favorite thing. But I love being in the gym. So when kids finish, like when kids went off to high school, man, like I wanted those guys to come back and work out. Like you keep coming back. Like I like working you guys out too. I'll get you ready. And if I get to a point where I can't get you ready, I'll tell you. I don't think I've been at that point very often. So like having those guys come back, man, it's just proof that it's working. And that's some ego stuff too. So like if a kid's playing Big East basketball and he hit me up to come to the gym and work out, I know that what I'm telling these freshmen and sophomores in high school, like this is what you need to be doing. So it helps me. And then they come back and they tell me what worked and what's it like in college, man, what they need to be better at, what they didn't expect. All right. Then I'm gonna help somebody else out a little different. So it's that environment. Like when my high school players see a kid that like I can tell them, man, you know why I love Delani Hunt? If I try to explain that to you with words, you're not gonna understand why every college coach he plays for gotta have him on the floor. But when you see him in the gym with you, like now you're like, man, I get it. Oh, I see it. Oh, all right. You might get better now because you have a real life example. And I think that's paramount for kids. Like we've taken that away from the youngest ages. We gotta try to give it back to them at some point. Like you go to the gym to play pickup, or you go to the Herbo to watch the guys that we know are good, and you see the things you can't do, or you see the things that you're not doing, but you're watching them do it. It helps. That helps you get better.
Yeah. So you made the jump to prep, right? What made you jump into that opportunity, and what would you say? What did you learn different from middle school to high school? What was the biggest learning experience?
That's a tough one. Like honestly, it was so shocking to get the opportunity. I didn't want to coach. Like I was trying to be an entrepreneur. Like I was making some money. Like I was chasing something new for the first time in a long time. And this job got offered to me that I initially was like, I don't want to do. Like I don't want to coach high school basketball. I never wanted to. And I look around the place and I'm like, why is this place not the best? Like, why is this not the best basketball team in the area?
Resources,
You know what I mean? Like, look at this place. You got dorms, you got great school, great facilities. Like, this place could be really good. Like, and I couldn't like figure out why. And I was like, man, let me check this out. Why would I pass this opportunity up? And it started making more and more sense. I was like, I could do something here. And it was a challenge. And the biggest thing I had to learn there's so many good coaches in this area. Like, so many good coaches in this area. The biggest thing I had to learn was like, coaching alone doesn't win basketball games. Like, you got to build a culture. Like, you got to build a real community around it, and like you have to build a program. Like a team, especially in this area, competing with the teams that can build just a powerful team. Like, you got to build a program to be able to build and develop players. And it's so like the biggest thing I learned will probably be I can't even say why this question is stomping me so much.
That's all right.
It's not like basketball is the same. You know what I mean? Like, it changes level to level because of the ability of the people playing it, but the game itself is pretty much the same. So it's hard for me to answer that question.
Okay.
That's fair.
So with this year's team, I definitely came to some of the games and definitely had a good mob. So let's talk about this season and some of the highs and the lows, and what adjustments you think you need to make for next season.
Yeah. For us, it's hard for me to accept second place, and we finished in second in our league in the regular season and in the playoffs. We lost to 3 teams in the area, and all 3 teams that we lost to are nationally ranked teams. But I want us to be nationally ranked teams, so it's hard to say that we had a successful season. But I know, coming from when we won 8 games my first year, and then 11, and then 15 last year, and to get to 22, 23, wherever we got to this year, I think that was a huge step. I think we had the formula to our starting big got hurt at the start of the second quarter of the championship game. Not to take anything away from Bullets, but we were up when that happened, and I think our game plan and adjustments we had ready were. I think we're on point to make that a battle for the rest of the night. Him going down really hurt us. You can't take away health as a variable, but I didn't have enough people ready for that moment. So that's one thing that I'll take away from getting to the championship game this year, and having an unfortunate injury happen during that game. We stuck to the game plan too long after he went down, and that's a coaching thing that I still have a hard time with when I think back on that game. Like, that's a mistake that I made. But one thing that I know is that the players that are returning from this season will have a whole new focus. And to get better, you have to go through those moments like that. They got right there. Now I think they know personally what it takes to get over the hump. We're going to continue to work, and I'm going to empower my players more and more to make it their team, and really continuing to build the culture that we want. But that's my biggest takeaway, is that I want to make sure my players now that we finally have a group of guys that have been through the gauntlet together for 4 years. I want them to make sure that this is their team, like that they're leading it, that they're responsible for, and know that we're only as good as they make it. I feel like the teams that we've had over the last 3 or 4 years were playing basketball as if I was making the team good, and they were playing basketball because I was telling them what to do, and that's not the way I want basketball to feel. Um, so I think we finally had a team this year that was close to it being theirs. And, so.
Okay. And we briefly talked about like AAU, but I know AAU is kind of like just kind of making a basketball somewhat difficult for players. But how is it coaching with the AAU culture of like how do you navigate like coaching and really kind of being that positive role model for your players when you have this AAU just kind of trying to take over and be like the handlers and things like that?
Um, I try to check my ego a lot. One thing that I've never done was like try to take credit for players. Like um, like I, like I'm on social media and things like that, but and I'll repost things or quote things for guys on Twitter when I see something. But I never want to be like, this is my guy. I did this. I did that. Um, or I'm responsible. I was a part of his journey. Like, so I check I've always checked my ego when it comes to that. I want to empower my players and their families and people I care about. I want to empower that. Like you're the most important part of this picture here. This is your journey. Um, but what I do struggle with is the influence that like AAU has over people because it does provide an opportunity that can't be paralleled. Um, but everybody's not playing what you would consider AAU or club level basketball. Um, AAU used to be reserved for the special, um, the highest caliber player at a particular age group. You can now play AAU just because you want to play basketball. So like there's a line, like, and I'm not talking about the elite programs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about the guys that are playing on the circuit. I'm not talking about the guys that are just underneath playing on the circuit that really know what they're doing. I'm talking about the other 100 teams in this small area, and probably the same all over the country that are just playing basketball, and they can't all be considered on the same level and deserve the same amount of time away from good stuff. Because the reality that I know, and I don't care what anyone says, you need time away from the game to get better. Like you need to be able to train, you need to be able to move the needle outside of game reps. But we have created a culture where game reps have become the most important part of so many kids' development, where I'm not really playing AAU for exposure as much as we're playing it. We're playing AAU for the opportunity to be on the basketball court. If college coaches aren't out there, or if you're not playing at a level that college coaches are going to stream your games, like what are you getting exposure this weekend? Are you getting exposure every weekend of the month? Like I find that hard to believe. And I'm not talking about the highest level of AAU either.
Yeah.
So that's the part that's tough for me is that we have this culture that's not about development because you take your favorite player in the NBA. When they first got to the league, they weren't in their prime. They weren't really good. But after that rookie year, a lot of people pay attention. You know, like what's your sophomore year going to be like in the NBA? sophomore, junior year going to be like in college. Like, you needed that time away from your last game to your first game to make the jump that you need to make. And we don't give kids that anymore. And I'm not going to be like they need to go play other sports, even though I think that helps in terms of physical development, especially at young ages. But the reality is, an off season can be a miracle for someone. Like, give me a kid for 3 months, and I don't got to worry about you practicing bad habits in the game, because that's what happens in the game. You go to your most common, like, most confident habit, right? That's not the hardest thing. Like, it's not going to be the best thing. It's going to be the thing you're the most comfortable in. All right, let's go win a game. Let's go be us. But it's that 3 months when you're not trying to win a game where I can make you better. I can get you bigger and stronger. I can make sure, oh man, your knee's sorted that. All right, we don't need to rush you to play this weekend. Let's take care of that. Let's build your core up this week. Let's work on your upper body this week. Let's work on form shooting. How your knee feeling? All right, let's get back grinding again. Now you got 3 months where you focused on your body, you focused on your health and well-being. You might have decided I need to be a better ball handler. You might have decided I need to be a better shooter. You might have decided I need to understand how to play out the corner better. I need to add 2 or 3 post moves, or I need to get a go-to move on the left side because everybody's forcing me this way. Like, you can't do that when you got a game next weekend. If I work on you with something every day of the week, from Monday through Friday, the chances of you being able to go execute that in the game on Saturday is really high. But if you got 4 games on Saturday, 4 games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, by the 4th game, you're probably pretty tired, so you're going to be doing bad stuff anyway. We do our worst when we're tired. And the first game, you might be amped up, but you probably only practice once or twice that week. Or you probably train with a different person each day that week. So you get to this game, now you got to figure out chemistry. Now you got to figure out like how you play with the wing on this side, what the big ones. 2 games are passed. Now you got 1 game left where you might be playing good ball. But we do this to our youngest kids, to our best kids. Like, my 9-year-old daughter's not playing basketball tournaments. Like, that's the only thing I told her, coach. When we play, I'll help you. We'll have this team. I don't want to do no tournaments, man. Like, my daughter, let's play 1 game this weekend. Let's practice a couple times this week. Let the girls have fun. Sometimes we go to practice and we'll just let the girls just hang out. They got a ball in their hand, go hang out. Like, why would I want my 9-year-old daughter who can come to a gym and have fun climbing on bleachers to play 4 games this weekend?
That's what I'm saying.
This is crazy, you know what I mean? So that's my dilemma with high school, is that you got so many kids, I think, wasting time. And again, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking about people who will never have you playing in front of a college coach. The 1 weekend that college coaches will be there at the Division I level. Like, I'm talking about, like, guys that are playing, coming out of your freshman, sophomore year, and you're not ready to play varsity basketball. What's the point of AAU if you're not ready to play varsity basketball? Like, if your goal is to play college, right? You got to get ready to play varsity. You got to get ready. But we've put such importance on AAU that you have, and not to big up any program over any other, but you have the EYBL teams, and then you have the teams down here that's going to go play at Circuit City. Y'all are not the same. You know what I mean? So, like, why do you want all these kids to do the same thing that these guys are doing? And because y'all do so much, you force them to do so much. So we created a culture and an ecosystem that's not conducive to being elite, in my opinion. The elite guys are doing the same thing as the bad guys, or vice versa. And so that's what I struggle with. I know that was a long answer.
Yeah, that was good insight on it though. And I know you touched on it about, the joy of the development part, and you wanted to stay as far as the middle and high, but do you ever think about if you wanted to take it and go to a college level or even go to a professional level and coach?
Man, I'll probably say when my kids are done. And I don't know if I don't know if I would even be considered at this point in my life. I don't know if I would be considered, geez, 10 years from now. But I think college coaching is hard. I can only imagine professional coaching, how hard that must be. I think I would be good at it. I think I'd be, but I don't know. Like I wouldn't want to recruit guys just because of their rankings or just because of their stars. Like I would struggle with that part. I would want to, if I see something, I would want to like recruit it. I'd take a 2-star if I thought he was better than a 4-star because of certain intangibles. But that'll get you fired at the college level, I bet. Unless you're winning. But I don't know, man. Like recruiting, like having to go all over the country to convince a player, it's hard work. I don't know if your job will be to coach basketball in college. Like you're doing other stuff, and I don't know. Would I take that opportunity to look at an opportunity if a college opportunity came? Absolutely, I would look at it, but that's not something I think I would like go out and pursue, just because I don't know.
All right. So eras, right? Let's talk eras. Obviously, we played in a different era than now. Clearly,
Clearly, yeah.
What would you say are the biggest differences? And then if there was anything from our era that you can bring into this era that would be helpful, what would it be? That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
Let's just start with what's the difference?
The biggest difference is like these kids today have so much more access than we had.
Yeah.
And they have way more opportunities. And I don't think we can blame them for that. And I think we do that a lot.
Yeah.
But our kids don't think like we thought.
Right.
And we can't expect them to. So we can't expect these kids to think that way. Like the people that are raising them are different than the people that raised us. So so yes, it's different. The game is different. And I think we just have to accept that the eras are different because the people are different. And I think it might be too hard to try to explain all the differences. But these kids, they're not softer. They're not softer just because they're born in this generation. Like life is softer. Like they're not being asked to compete the same way. They're not being asked to like improve the same way. That's the biggest thing if I could bring anything from my era, like elementary, junior high, high school would be a proving ground. It wouldn't be like this thing that's celebrated. Like that would be the biggest thing that I would change. It's like the goal is way above where you are when you're 13, 14 years old. And I think a lot of people in this generation are chasing the success for today so early, whether it's like social media followers, whether it's like getting mentioned in a write-up, whether it's like trying to be ranked in their class. I think everybody cares so much about what you're doing today that there's no focus on what's in front of you anymore, or not enough focus on what's ahead of you anymore. So that's the one thing I would bring back, lessen the importance at the younger age, and just get them focused on what's ahead.
Great answer. Great answer. So let's jump into training culture. I think you have based off what I'm hearing, you got a very holistic viewpoint as far as like development. But obviously there are different layers, and all training and development is not the same, especially right now. What would you speak on as far as like training culture? What's your thoughts on it?
Too many people doing it. My thoughts on it is like, man, the reality is the more you do something, the better you get at it. That is true. I think I struggle with the concept, not because I don't know some people that are really good at it. I know some great trainers, but I'm still connected to the idea of coach. Like, I don't remember when coach and trainer became different things.
Yeah.
Silos.
Yeah. And that, like, I miss that. I miss that evolution because, like, trainers, they do what they're doing, and they still want to coach the kids, though. You know, like they'll come, if they come to their games, they'll try to coach more. They'll tell them what they should be doing better. That's what a good trainer would do. So, like, why are you a trainer? Why are you not a coach? And if it's to make money, I get that too, but I don't. I think your coach should be training you. Like, I believe in that. I believe your coach should be training you. I believe, like, that's why you call him coach. Like, you call. I probably say his name wrong, but Mahalit. That was y'all still call him coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was y'all coach. Like, if I see Coach Myers, that's Coach Myers. Like, you're my coach. Coach Whitaker. I work with Coach. I worked with Coach Whitaker for 14 years. I still call him coach when I see him today. Like, your coach is who gets you better. So, like, I struggle with that evolution to, you got a coach over here and a trainer over here, because I also know that basketball, like soccer, like games like that, you can get better by yourself. You need people directing you and telling you, but when do you be who you want to be? You know, like, I mean, I got better by myself. I think that you get more when it's your work. You know what I mean? Like, it's your move, it's your field. So if you do have a good trainer, stick with them. Like, you don't need multiple trainers. You know, like, that trainer should be your coach. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to go see you to train me, like, why would I go see somebody else to train me? Like, why would I go see boom, boom, boom to train me? Like, how many trainers do you need? So, on one hand, we have too many trainers out here. We have too many people saying that they can train you. And then we have kids going to too many trainers. If you're going to have a trainer, have one. You know what I mean? Like, and stick with it, in my opinion.
What I always say, because we always ask the question, and I say, because it's just oversaturating, everybody's in there trainer, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, it need to be like a certification that people need to take to be certified as a trainer, just so you teach them the right fundamentals, man. Because some people literally are going on YouTube, looking at drills, and then calling themselves a trainer, and then just, putting the kid through the drill, but not teaching them, like situational basketball, why I'm doing this, the purpose I'm doing this stuff. I'm like, man, it should be a certification. You got to have a certification for everything else, certified, whatever.
Yeah.
It need to be a certified basketball trainer.
Yeah.
And if you want to
go, for you to go,
yeah,
it should be. If you want to do that,
yeah, man. Because and then it'd be helpful to me. It'd be helpful for like parents, because like if I got a guy, he's saying, it's just like, well, he said he was certified. He got a certification that he going to break down and help my kid play the game, instead of somebody who just went on YouTube and, you know what I'm saying?
I get it. Like, there are good trainers out here. We got some good ones, but it's just too many of them, and all of them not good.
Yeah,
all of them not good. And I bet in our area there's more good ones in our area than other areas in the country. I would assume, but there's some real bad ones too. And they got hold of some of these kids. They have hold of some of these kids.
So what you think about the NIL? I mean, of course, I wish we had it when we was coming up. But I mean, it has this, its good side and its bad side.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like you said, it would have been nice to have had it. I'm not saying that I would have got this big NIL offer, but it would have been nice to be able to put my face on like a party flag or something. Get a couple bucks without getting in trouble. Like that would have been nice. I would have made some T-shirts up and not got in trouble. That would have been great. I think it's going to end up being the haves and the have-nots at every level. But man, when it gets to every state down to the high school level, like in high school, it's not in every state yet. But when it does, I think amateur sports as we know it is over.
Yeah.
But the European model is starting to show has been successful. It might be the way basketball development should be. So maybe it ends up turning to that. I don't know, but I don't think the way that we are experiencing amateur basketball, youth basketball, high school basketball in its current state will continue. I don't think college will continue the way that we know it as of today. I think NIL is going to change everything. I think it's changed a lot. I'm happy for the young men that are and women that are living a way better life earlier. I think it's amazing. Some of the numbers I've heard are absolutely insane. That kids are being able to be promised access to, because I don't know if they're guaranteed all of it. But to be promised and to have access to some of it, man, that's game changing for a family.
Yeah.
That's game changing. Now, the impact of that yet to be seen, but that college scholarship is even more valuable now and going to be even harder to get. And like I feel for these kids that like the kid I feel for the most are the kids that 6 years ago before COVID would have had a college scholarship opportunity. Like I see them every day. Like I see them like on our team. I see them when we're playing against teams. Like we played against a guy, I won't say what school, but he's going to a D2 school. And I'm like, man, like I look at him 6 years ago, a D2 school, man, like he might have been a high mid major or something. And now that's a D2 player, man. Like
it's because the opportunities are getting
it's a
smaller.
bottleneck, man. Like, what is it, like 3% of kids were able to go play college basketball before at all three levels. NCAA, I mean, not counting NAIA, JUCO, just the NCAA Division I, Division II, Division III. You're looking at just over 3% of high school players being able to do that. That number might be smaller now because of transfer portal, because of the COVID year, but the reality, I don't know if the COVID year changes back, if that changes what's happening with the transfer portal. I don't see that being the case. Like, I think high school kids will become less and less valuable to college coaches because they're when we paying them money. Like now they're employees. Like that changes the dynamic of everything. I can't imagine what a college coach must have to consider now when it comes to playing time. Like, do you pay a kid $300,000 to come play for you, and he's getting outplayed by the kid in practice that like he getting the per diem? Like, if he outplays him, is he just happy to be on the team, or do you play this kid instead of your $300,000 kid? Like,
wish there was a way you could be like, let me take that deal and give it to him.
When that kid decides to transfer, you might do that. Like, this stuff is crazy, man. Like, we're not even looking at kids making like 4-year decisions anymore, and I think that's NIL. And I don't know if I blame anybody, but I don't know what's coming our way, but I know something is. Something different is coming to the game of basketball and football due to NIL. Everybody get ready.
What was because I don't know, and I don't know if the viewers will know as well. When you said that it's coming to the European style.
I said it might, like, so over in Europe, right? You get to be a certain age, and it's like, hey, you might still go to school. Like, think about like Ricky Rubio, Tony Parker's of the world, Victor. Wow, like imagine like when they saw him, when they moved him from traditional school track to you about to be a hooper, sir. Like that happens over there. Like you go to school, you might have some classes, but you are in a development model to represent the pro team one day, and they're like basketball players early.
So like a
They
dude,
start their professional career a little earlier than.
Yeah.
Okay.
so when I was in Germany, I had a dude, he actually played with the Mavericks now, but he was 14, but he was on our team, right? And he didn't really play, but like he got to be with us and practice with us, live with us.
Playing on a younger team.
He played on the younger team, and so like he would struggle with us, right? But like he had something to look forward to. It's kind of what he was talking to earlier. He had something to look forward to because he like, man, I gotta get better. I gotta get better. But then when you see him play with his 14-year-old team, I mean, he was destroying everything. You know what I mean? And that pipeline of development seems, I mean, for most of the guys overseas, they go through that at a young age and they already kind of they do the school piece, but like they're literally doing all of the stuff that the pros are doing. So by the time they get to the pro level, they ready to go. And so like dude been playing with the Mavs for a long time now.
So Luka been doing this for a long
Yeah,
time.
Luka was pro at like 14 or something like that and was like playing.
Playing.
Yeah, you know? So
I can tell.
Yeah.
And like our kids gotta go to school all day. Not that that's a bad thing, but like they go to school, they play for their high school, they play AAU. Like they don't like these kids have like I was like we were saying, like Luca grew up middle school and high school having a basketball season and then having an off season. And then basketball season and then an off season. And just kept getting better, kept getting better, kept getting better. And now he knows how to play.
Yeah. So man, we got a fun game. It's called either or, right?
Gotcha.
And so you pick one or the other or both.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna run these off. All right. Man to man or zone?
Man to man.
Okay. Colgate or Gonzaga?
It would have to be either or.
You could pick both.
Gonzaga.
Okay. WJA or Prep?
I'm gonna go both.
Okay. So I don't know the name of the carryout, but I'm gonna just say H Street Carryout or Andy's.
Oh man, they should carry out.
Okay.
All day.
All right, okay. Playing or coaching?
Coaching.
Okay. Skill or athleticism?
I'm gonna say both if I can.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Old school big man or new school big man?
I'm gonna go with both.
All right.
That both make it too easy though.
All right. Chris Webber or Sabonis, who play with the Kings now?
I'm gonna always choose opposite C Webb.
Okay. Okay. All right. Tim Duncan or Garnett?
Duncan.
Okay. Elijah Wan or David Robinson?
Elijah.
Okay, that was easy. Derek Coleman or Carl Anthony Towns?
Coleman.
Okay. Y'all youngsters, pay attention to that. Confidence or IQ?
I mean, I would say both. But I do due diligence, and that's a tough one. I'm gonna go as a player IQ.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Kobe or Brown?
Ah man, Bron.
Okay. Bron or MJ?
I'm gonna go Bron.
Okay. Respect or love?
I mean, both would be my easy answer.
That's fine.
I'll go with respect,
Okay. Respect or loyalty?
loyalty.
All right. That was it. That was
That's it.
yeah. You ran through that pretty good. Last one.
Yeah. So is anything that you just want to give? You dropped a lot of jewels and great information through the interview, but you want to tell players or parents that, aspire to play this game and be, and at some point maybe want to make this game a career, just to give them some positive outlook.
Man, different stages of the game is definitely different. Enjoy it very early. Make sure there's a love there. Like, you know how hard it is to go to college workouts every day. Try to be a pro, have to play basketball when you don't want to. The thing that gets you over the hump is like actually enjoying it and loving it. Give your kids a chance to develop that passion for it. And if they have that freedom to develop their own passion, they'll work really hard one day. You teach them work ethic and teach them principles, and like don't force it on them in the thing they're supposed to enjoy, because it becomes a burden. Like basketball can become a burden if there's not enough passion for a kid. And that would be my biggest advice to a person starting off with a young person. But for kids that are like at the high school level now, like it's like grind and tell. Where your expectations lie is where your disappointments will begin. Like if you set high expectations, like you might not meet all of them, but you'll be striving for some greatness. If you set low expectations, and like one, you're not going to attain anything special, but if you fall short, like you're not going to be amongst anything special. So I don't use goals a lot. Like set your expectations and live up to them. Um, like work and strive like for as much greatness as you possibly can, and try to be good all day long. Like don't just think you show up to basketball practice and you're gonna give your best effort, man. Like be the best version of yourself in the classroom. Be the best version of yourself with your little brothers, big brothers, little sisters, your siblings, your family. Like try to be good at everything that you're doing as much as possible, and try not to have a switch so that I'm really good when it's time to hoop. I'm really good at the game, and just be really good. The same decision making process that you have, like to make the right decision to be a good student, is the same decision making process you have to be a good hooper. Um, like high character, like all of the things that'll make you a good friend will make you a good teammate. So don't pick and choose when you're supposed to be good. Just be good and expect that process out of your life. And I think you'll go a long way. Like for college guys, it's the same thing. Keep working and keep your eye on your like what your prize is, and like chase that down.
That was great, man. I might use some of that for myself. Yeah, nah, man. We definitely appreciate your time.
And I appreciate you guys. I'm glad to do this.
Yes,
Sorry, my voice has been shaky from coaching soccer.
It's all
Oh no,
good.
it's all good, man.
Nah,
It's all
man.
good.
That should be fun today. Hopefully, y'all go ahead and have a good time with the fam.
Man, we try to get this dub, man. I'm trying to run some wins up on the youth level.
Yeah.
I got 2 soccer today, 2 basketball tomorrow.
Nice, nice. Well, now, man, that's a wrap, man. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, follow, share this out, and we'll be back next week.
Stay gang related.